Hello, friends. Welcome to 1516. For several years, the law admissions in Telugu states have been happening at around December. You might wonder why the academic calendar starts in June or July, but law admissions are happening in December. This is very unusual, and there was no answer from any party on this. Everybody had sort of accepted this as a way of doing things. It was the status quo. People were assuming, yeah, it happens that way. There is no reason for this. Different agencies used to blame each other, and there was no consensus on what was the actual reason. Fortunately, for the students in Telangana this year, a senior advocate, a learned counsel, has filed a public interest litigation in the High Court of Telangana. And this year, in a first, the counseling was conducted in August, and the classes have already begun in September. I would like to invite Mr. A. Bhaskar Reddy Garu, who is with us today. He will be explaining the journey and the rationale, the motivation behind filing this public interest litigation and helping thousands of students across the state of Telangana. Good evening, sir. Welcome to 1516. How are you today?
Good evening, Prithviraj. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me in your interview. And
We're
thank you
glad,
for
we are honored to have such people like you who are going beyond, going the extra mile and making sure the students benefit. And I'm grateful that such learned people are available for us to fight for us. Could you perhaps give a brief background about how you came into law, where you studied, and how long you've been practicing?
Yes. Let me start with the beginning. In fact, law was my first passion. After my graduation in 1979, I did a course in journalism, and thereafter I joined law in University College of Law at campus, Usmania University campus, on merit basis. But then, what happened is that time in 1990s, the law was not really looked after well, and it was not sought after. So people were not looking with great awe. Everyone was talking about joining medicine or going to engineering. So there was a feeling that law is not a paying field, and you have to really slog a lot. So therefore, it was not encouraged. Rather, so because of that, I shifted to journalism. I joined journalism, and I studied. I started working in journalism. So I dropped out at that point of time. But later on, I further pursued my studies, and I wanted to join. Coming from a middle class and first generation, I wanted to always. My dream was to join civil services. So I attempted civil services, and I in fact joined civil services in 1987. I joined an allied service called Indian Defence Estate Service in 1987. So, and then after my superannuation in 2019, I retired as a senior additional director general from our headquarters in New Delhi. So thereafter, I thought with my domain knowledge from the administrative field and defense estates, land management, and municipal services management, and with vast experience in various sectors, I thought because now what happens is in government, you retire at the age of 60 years when you are still active, and your mind is active, physically active. And then what do you do after 60 years? So you must be keep yourself occupied to be alert and agile. So therefore, I thought law is the best area to go for, and so I joined. Appeared for the government entrance examination, law set exam in 2019, and then I got a very good rank, and then I joined the Padala Ramareddy College, and I completed the law in 2022. Even at that time, the entrance examination was held in sometime in May, and the results were declared in June, and the admissions were taken only in September, October. So I was wondering, why is it taking so much time? They said, some reasons were given, saying that Bar Council of India is not getting the permission. So therefore, of course, I didn't pursue that much. So in fact, in September, when the admissions were completed, so therefore, we didn't have much to do. We didn't think much about the delays part of it. And then when I completed law in 2022, so I took a year break and joined practice. And thereafter, 23, I wanted to do a post-graduation LLM. So I again appeared for LASET, PG LASET, conducted by Usmania University. That was again held in May 25th of 2023. The results were declared in about 15 days. But as usual, the website was saying that the admissions will take place in August. Then after August was over, then they said that it will take place in September. After September was over, in October, the website, they simply changed the scroll to say that the counseling first phase will be held in sometime in November. So then at that time, I was feeling that there's something wrong with the system. Something has to be done. Why is the candidates made to wait so long? And for me, it's okay. It doesn't affect much. But then a lot of thousands of students out there who are wanting to join law, but then they are deprived of joining the law courses at the right time. There is always a golden hour for everything. So you can't take the admissions at your seat will the time which is suitable to the administration. So I felt upset about it and discussed with some students, and they said, yes, there is an issue. I discussed with the academicians, the teachers in various colleges. They said nothing can be done. This is how the Bar Council of India doesn't give permissions. They really, dictate terms to the colleges, and there is something wrong. So then at that time, I started preparing. I thought, let me file a case. So then what I did was I filed a case in my individual capacity, in my own name, saying that the admissions to law courses are being delayed unduly, and it is affecting thousands of students because their career prospects are affected. So I
When
filed
was this?
a case.
When did you decide to file?
That was in October end. When this was third time they postponed the admissions, saying that it will be held in November. So I said
2023 October.
2023, yes. So I filed a writ in my personal capacity, and I said I want to appear myself as an advocate. Although I am an advocate, but then as an advocate, you can't appear in your own name in your own case. So therefore, there in that case there is a provision to appear in person. So unfortunately, there is a long procedure for when you want to appear in person in a writ petition. So you have to go through a committee meeting. They will call you for an interview, and then they will see whether you'll be able to address the court and all that. You have the capability to handle this matter and all that.
So
So that
just being a member of the bar and a practicing advocate is not sufficient for appearing in your own case as a
yes,
advocate.
exactly. Unfortunately, that is so. See, that is okay with the non-advocates. A member of public coming and wanting to appear in person. For them, the committee system is okay. The High Court can scrutinize them, look at them, see whether he is capable to, address the court and all that. But even when advocates are appearing as in person, then unfortunately the system is the same. So they don't change. So then it took about a month period for me to get those clearances, and then once finally when the clearances came, the matter was listed. Then by the time the Telangana Council for Higher Education has announced the council, so then the government council said that no, the counseling is already started. So therefore the reputation has become infectious. Then I objected to this. How can this be an objective? I have come with a prayer, not just for this year. I am saying that my prayer in that individual petition was also that there is a undue delay for the past 10 years. This is not fair on the students. Students are losing out on several aspects. So therefore, the system must be rectified. There is a remedy. There's a court must look into this problem and examine why it is happening only in respect of law courses, whereas
Yes.
the course of medical admissions, engineering admission, agriculture, all the B.Ed, MBA admissions all take place in July, August. But why only in the case of law it is getting stretched to December, whereas there is no sanctity for academic year. So when I mentioned that, then the court said, okay, no, your matter is in a kind of a, now that it has become counseling has started. So now it's your partly you got a relief now. Now we can't do much about it. But as far as your main core issue is concerned, that falls in the jurisdiction of a PAL. It is in the domain of a PAL. So we will give you a liberty to file a PAL. So that's how the single bench of the High Court disposed of the writ petition in November 2023.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So with that, then again I thought, should I go ahead? Then I said, no, the core issue is the same. It is affecting the thousands of students. Let us do something for the students because it's a genuine issue. I mean, what we are going to fight is a really serious matter. So therefore, I decided to file a PIL. Again, in the same PIL, the same procedure of appearing in person took some time. So anyway, so I
So,
filed it in
so
2024.
when did you decide to when did you file this PIL?
I filed it in December, but finally, again, after scrutiny of this committee for appearing in person, even in this PIL, second time also, then anyway, that process it again took an hour, a month. So finally, it was listed in January 2024, and then the PILs are heard by a bench headed by the Chief Justice. And always, it's always in all the High Courts and the Supreme Court. Generally, the PILs are heard by a division bench, which is headed by the Chief Justice. So they looked at the matter and they looked at the single bench order where they said that liberty was given to me to file a PAL. So therefore, the single double bench, as division bench, has given notices to the Government of Telangana, Bar Council of India, and the Telangana State Council for Higher Education for giving their response to this PAL. So that's how the PAL journey has started.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So it was not only we thought it's just a simple matter. You went there, filed a PIL, but it had to go through two complete different petitions.
Yes.
So first a writ and then a PIL,
Yes.
and finally, so when we talk about the PIL, is the case completed now, or what is the status of the case?
No, the PAL is not yet finally disposed of. It has come up for a hearing in, because the state took a long time, they, even if it is in PAL matters where it concerns public, unfortunately, the respondents here in at Bar Council of India was the first respondent, state government is second respondent, Telangana Council for Higher Education was the third respondent, Usmania University was the fourth respondent. They don't file their replies. Although the court gives only 1 month time to file their replies, they generally don't file their replies. You have to go to court and say that they have not yet filed the reply and please list my matter. So therefore, I again went sometime in April and mentioned to the court saying that they have not filed the replies and please ask them to. So then the courts has directed the court, state government and the Bar Council to file the replies. So then first state government, Telangana Council filed the reply, and then Bar Council was the main respondent, first respondent, they did not file. So they took time. So by the time the filing of these counters was done, it was only in June, July. July it was completed by then. And meanwhile, of course, May was a vacation. And I also, because I was, since I joined LLM, I was also going through the first semester exams and the assignments and all that. I also took my own time and they said, okay, let me do it leisurely after the summer vacations. So therefore, I pursued the matter vigorously in June after the court opened. In July, the matter was listed, and twice or thrice it had come up, and various dates were taken, and then the meanwhile the court has directed them what is your response, and they filed their responses. So I'll explain the next position in your next questions.
Yeah, so now my next question would be, first of all, I'd like to thank you because firstly, the mere act of filing the PIL forced all the agencies to first of all get ready for a response. And I think they introspected as to why the delay is happening in the first place. Well, I don't think anybody has ever thought of this. It has always been happening this way, so it will always happen this way. That is sort of the attitude that they had. But if you look at it, if you maybe for senior students or non-traditional students, it doesn't matter much. But for students who are interested in law, there are about 36,000 applicants this year for 3 years LLB. 29,000 wrote the exam and passed. Only 4,000 seats are available. So if you wait till December and then your future is in limbo, so you don't know what's going to happen. If you don't get a seat, the entire year is wasted because any other course you would want to have to pursue, that option is also gone because all those courses already started and they will not take any more new students. So yeah, so that is such a great thing because if you get a yes or no, you can pursue your own path, whatever it may be. But if you don't get any answer and you're stuck in limbo, you're thinking, I'll join in law, and the benefits for convener quota alone have the scholarships and whatever the other benefits of the government. If you go for any management quota or something like that, those benefits are not given to you. So yeah, so how did they respond? The authorities like Bar Council of India, Law Set Convener, Telangana State Council for Higher Education. What were their responses like? Did you find any surprising answers? Sometimes they say that these authorities give silly responses, or to us, it feels like, what kind of response is this? Is this even a response? Just dilly-dallying type of tactics or something like that. So what kind of a responses did they file? And
Exactly, Rohit, you have rightly pointed out about the problems which will be faced by candidates because of the delays. Exactly, that's what I picked up that point as the core issue. See, you have rightly said that because the admissions to all other courses generally happen between June and August. Like you see, the law is pursued at two levels. One is at a 5-year integrated course, that is for those +2 students, and then 3-year LLB course for those who have done a graduation already. See, the first year, in respect of 5-year LLB course, in fact, it is very harsh on them because their results are generally declared by April,
yes,
and the medical results and our engineering EBSET results, EMSET, earlier it was called EMSET, results are also declared by June. The counseling results are declared. And then the admission process starts immediately thereafter in July, sometime like that. And suppose there are students who want to do law, they are left out. They want to do law. They have also appeared for the law counseling, the entrance exam, but there is nowhere the law set admissions are not taking place. So perforce, see, and you must also appreciate the candidates who are generally taking the law set examination. They are all the middle class and the poor class people. And the well-to-do families and well-to-do girls and boys, they always to go to the regular colleges like which are CLAT examination, which are with the private colleges are there, where the fee is very high, runs into lakhs of rupees per month, per year. So that many students of Telangana who coming from the agriculture families background and small medium middle income families, they can't afford. So with the result, what happens to those students is that the families also are under pressure. So if the admissions are not taking place in your choice course, but then the families and the society will pressurize you to join some course, which which may be against their ways. So then they join that course and they pay the fee there. And suppose they really want to join law, then they can't immediately come because they have to pay fees in that course where they have joined, because that college won't let you give the transfer certificate and the documents
Exactly.
for you to join. So they will hold your so therefore perforce, even though a candidate is interested to pursue law, he is deprived. The system is not enabling. There is no facility for joining, so therefore
Yeah.
they lose out and they miss that. I mean, they leave it for the life, and they join those courses and they do whatever they might be doing. So that is the major loss. So therefore, the golden hour to catch the law field candidates, potential candidates, is July, August, and that is the period when if candidates, students have gone to join MBA or B.Ed courses, or other whatever course the post graduation in various disciplines. So like that, the law is left with only those who are not really serious, and so that is one main reason. So that's what I picked up in that. I wrote in my petition. This is the main reason why law as a discipline is losing out. Not only the
Yes.
students are losing out. Law as a career, law as a discipline, law as a field of very important branch of our government and the justice delivery system is not getting the bright students. We are getting a very average students, not disinterested students. Law itself, as it is, doesn't get many students because of the low, the income levels in the initial fields. Unlike the engineering or medicine, where you are at least taken care of, you'll get a job. But law is not like that. It is all entrepreneurial kind of work. So unless you go to some corporates, everybody can't to get join corporates. So therefore, law is a different field. So it has to pick up the candidates who are really have that aptitude and interest to join the course. But then the state itself is depriving that opportunity to those candidates,
Yes.
which
Yes.
I felt is a great injustice on the part of the system. It's a loss. I mean, it's a depriving the fundamental rights of the students, basically.
Yeah.
So these are the
So,
grounds I laid out in the petition, and I collected data for past 10 years when the exam was held, LAWCET exam was held, when the counseling has taken place, when the classes have started. So I said this is a, and I said this has got a the kind of consequential effect on the complete 3 year course also. Even after you
yes.
join also, it is going to have an impact. It's not that because the courses should have started in June, July. Academic year as per the UGC must start in July. The instructions are like that. But whereas you are starting in August, December, so that means a 6 months period of one semester is completely lost for the
Gone.
student. You can imagine the kind of loss for one candidate of 6 months, thousands of candidates who have waited for admissions, and eventually if they don't get seat in the convener quota, they can't get to join. Some of them may not be able to afford to join the management quota. So therefore, his entire career, 1 year period of his life is lost. So maybe he will have to join the next year in either law again, or again join in some other course, alternative course. So that's the kind of loss the students were experiencing. So
It's a
to
very important thing that you mentioned.
yes,
Firstly, it's like a crime of poverty sort of thing. Being
yes,
poor itself is a crime.
yes,
The poor, they have to travel all the way. They will
yes,
go to the office. They'll ask the
mm,
question. They'll say, no, it's not now. Go. And
mm,
again, he has to go back, take the bus, go all the way back to wherever he came from. And
yes,
two, three times, if it doesn't get resolved, he
mm,
let he loses hope, and then he has to forfeit his opportunity to pursue something that he desires. But on the
correct.
other hand, the well-off people, they can travel by luxury, or they'll
Yes,
call the right people, or they'll do something. They are already aware of the
yes,
opportunities. For example, you can send post, register post, these that emails, and they'll respond. But most of
yes,
them, the poor, they don't know these things, and their parents also may not be educated, as you said, first generation people. And
yes,
it's such
yes,
it's a travesty of the system that it doesn't
mm,
work for the
yes,
people who need it the most.
yes,
And by doing this, it sort of expedited the process. At least it sort of made people feel that there is a fair chance. Because I am myself pursuing Padala, the LLB, 3 years LLB at Padala Gandhi Law College now.
Okay.
And I had also took the exam in 2020. Due to COVID, it was held in October at that point of time, the last
Yes.
night exam, but the results were given, admissions were decided by December. But now there is no COVID, there's no reason for the
Yes.
delay at all.
Yes.
And still the
Yes.
admissions are being
Yes.
conducted in late September or November. Counseling itself and admission and
Yes.
reporting and all that, classes starting is after that.
Yes.
So fortunately, I read, I was following your updates from the newspaper Deccan Chronicle, and I tried to reach out to those reporters also who mentioned this.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I couldn't reach you till now. So
Yes.
I had to wait. But so the very important thing you mentioned about collecting evidence. So you collected evidence for the past 10 years. Did you file
Yes.
RTIs or did you file something? How did you collect this evidence? Can you briefly go over this?
So it was all in public domain. It was all the information of last 10 years was available. I just collected the information when 2011, that time AP and AP last set was there. When was it held? When was the admissions done? Like that, each year, for the past, I think 2014 onwards, I collected data. So it was there. I mean, most of the information was available on the public domain. So I compiled that and I said that this is a data based on the public information. I declared in the PAL that it was not based on any RPI. So in the previous question you asked me about the response of the respondents, that is
Yes.
the Bar Council and this. First, let me tell you about the Telangana Council for Higher Education who filed their counter first. Theirs was the first counter. They agreed with all my points. They said that yes, there is delay. Yes, there is students are affected. The academic year is getting delayed. Fortunately, I mean, generally governments don't admit their mistakes. But here they have agreed that there is a delay. We are conducting everything. The last set is conducted right on time. We are ready for this. But they are saying that the blame is with the Bar Council of India. See, under the Advocates Act, the Bar Council is the one who is regulating admission education of the legal education also under Section 7 of the Advocates Act. So under that garb, the colleges and the state government was putting the blame on the door of the Bar Council of India. So they said that we are all ready. Yes, the other exams, other counselings are held in time, but because we are not able to do the counseling for large set exams, but because of the delay in getting the approvals of the Bar Council of India to start the admissions. So that was the Telangana Council. Even the same was echoed by the state government. Also said that yes, there is what the petitioner is saying absolutely right. We are ready to hold the exam, the admissions in time, but for the delays in the Bar Council. But see, the unfortunate thing is that they have given the facts of when they have sent the proposals to the Bar Council of India. They have given the dates also in the last few years when they have given the date submit the proposals to the Bar Council of India to give the permissions. See, it was found out that the state government, particularly the Telangana Council for Higher Education, was collecting the approvals of the universities granted to various private colleges and university colleges, and then they were consolidating them, and then they were sending it to the Bar Council of India. It so happened that in 2022, they sent the proposals only in September. So with the result, the Bar Council has given the approvals only in November. Early first week of November, they given the permissions. Only after receiving the permissions, the counseling was notified. So they themselves were responsible. Bar Council is of course responsible as an apex body. They should have monitored when the law admissions are taking place in different states. That they have absolutely failed to do that. Even the state government should not should have pursued with the universities to send the proposals in time. The law mandates that the proposals must be given to the Bar Council of India at least 6 months in advance each year. But it was not being done by the universities and the Telangana Council for Higher Education, which has come out very clearly in their responses. So which we have been able to point out to the High Court. And the Bar Council in turn was blaming naturally they were saying that we have not got the proposals in time, we are ready to do it, otherwise we have no problem. So, but finally when our matter came up before the bench, the Bar Council has come up saying that, their proposals are getting delayed, and some of them are not given their fees. Some of them are defaulting in having the regular teaching faculty. They don't have certain teaching faculty. That's why we have not given the permissions like that. So that's how the Bar Council has come out with their explanation, the reasons for the delay. Anyway, the High Court has insisted that when are you going to hold the counseling, what the candidate is saying, then it is also genuine point. How can you delay the admissions? Then the council, Telangana Council, has announced in July saying that we are going to start the counseling in August. So they have given the assurance to High Court that we will now do the counseling in August. Then we said, where is the permissions? Then the High Court asked the Bar Council, what about the permissions? Then the Bar Council has given an undertaking to the High Court that we will give the clearances to those colleges which are clear before the counseling date announced by the Telangana Council. That was the 5th of August 2024.
Yes.
By 4th August, we will give them. So that's how they. And our case was listed on 12th of August. Last hearing was on 12th August. Unfortunately, the Bar Council. See, my prayer was only in respect of the admissions to the colleges which are under the Telangana counseling convener quota. My PAL was not in respect of flat admissions to, let us say, Nalsar or the Symbiosis College or ICFI College in Telangana. It was not about them. Our admissions are only in respect of the counseling which is conducted by the Telangana Council for Higher Education. That is in respect of about 30 odd colleges in Telangana, which about 8,000 plus convener quota seats and about maybe 2,000 the management quota seats in Telangana. Only that was my PAL. My limit was only up to that. But unfortunately, the Bar Council of India in their affidavit filed on 12th August mentioned about Nalsar. They mentioned inadvertently, they mentioned, they deliberately mentioned in their affidavit that Nalsar is also one of the defaulting parties. So then we were all surprised, how is Nalsar coming into this picture? Nalsar is not even in our PAL jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So then it so happens that, Nalsar, Chief Justice of High Court of Telangana is Chancellor of Nalsar. So then he said, why are you mentioning Nalsar? No, Nalsar is such a prestigious institution. Why are you blaming Nalsar in this case? So if you are bringing Nalsar in this, then I can't sit in this case.
Yes.
So therefore, I am recusing myself. So let this matter be heard by another bench. So therefore, that matter was adjourned on 12th August 2024 to a bench headed by the senior most High Court judge. So that is how the matter is pending there. So, so now the matter is not yet disposed of. So now the matter will be heard afresh sometime in this month or next month. So, and then,
if when the bench changes, so we have to again start from the beginning. Is
yes,
that how it is?
Yes, exactly. It starts from the beginning. In fact, I consider it as a blessing. In fact, I deliberately chose not to go to the new bench, and ask for a urgent hearing, because partly purpose is served in this year. The admissions have started now, so and I wanted to get a data of this year admissions. See, my whole story is about the numbers. See, what I said is that last year in 2023, out of 29,000 candidates who have been declared qualified in the LASET exam, both TG LASET, both for 5-year course, 3-year course, and PG courses, about 29,000 candidates have qualified. And out of them, only 12,000 candidates have taken the registered for the in the options, exercising the options when the counseling was notified.
Okay.
So there is a big gap. The number of candidates is about, let's say, 29,000, and the candidates who have actually qualified, who have actually appeared for the participated in the counseling exercise is only 12,000, which doesn't happen in let's say engineering or medical courses. That
less
is
than
because
50%.
Yeah, less than 50%. So that itself shows that you have denied the candidates who are interested to. I mean, see, having appeared for the exam and qualified, anybody would like to participate in the web exercise, counseling exercise at least.
Yeah.
You may not get, or you may get, or you may not get. But they were not participating, which itself indicates that the system was loaded against the candidates by not getting the admission process in the right time. So that itself is a big point for me. And I wanted to compare this year's data because in August they said we will do the counseling. So I wanted to get the benefit of the data, which I want to prove to the court, saying, see, in 2023, 12,000 candidates have appeared. And based on my information so far, the final data is yet to come because the counseling is taking place, second phase, and the PG counseling is yet to, second phase is also yet to be started. So final numbers are yet to come out. But from the media, what I came to know is that 14,000 candidates have appeared in the first phase of counseling only for the 3-year LLB and 5-year LLB. Because the PG LLM courses counseling has taken place much after in the last week of August. So that data is not included. So which is from 12,000 to 14,000. So that itself for 3-year and 5-year course itself is a big, there's a jump, substantial jump in that data. So which proves my point that you hold the exam, the counseling in time in July, August, you will get better candidates. You will get a higher ranked candidates and who are having real zeal and aptitude to pursue law. So that is my hunch and my expectation, and that is partly proved also. And I'll be able to prove with complete data when I will approach the court in next month with the complete data, and I will prove to the court that this is how the system was loaded again with the candidates, and many candidates for last 10-15 years have lost their opportunity to pursue law because of the state's inaction. This is a pure inaction and the negligence and indifference of the state government. State, I mean, I'm talking of in terms of state, in terms of the universities or state government, bar council, which are, in as far as we are concerned, in the legal terms, they are the state.
Yes. It was such a, it is very informative to learn all this because I never knew that only 50%, less than 50% are opting for the counseling. Because, I mean, so there is, you would expect there would be some drop. For example, this year, 36,000 wrote the 3-year LLB. 29,000 odd passed or something like that was the metric. I don't remember exactly.
Yes.
Out of that, if only 14,000 or so have appeared for counseling, that means outrightly it's 50%.
Yes.
And we have around 4,000 seats for 3-year LLB. I'm not sure of all of them combined. Around 4,000 or 4,500 are the seats available for 3 years LLB in all entire Telangana and anywhere through law set. And so it's such a highly informative to learn this, and I'm waiting for what will happen. But now that you have filed this, so once let us suppose that the verdict is in the favor of the students and the people, do you think that this will be permanently next year onwards? It will happen on time, like in June, July, they will conduct the courses, because this year the last set was on June 4th. results were less than 7 days later. I think they gave out the results. And because it's a computerized process, actually they can give you the result on the spot. Even they need
Yes,
not wait. If you look
yes,
at some foreign exams, they will give you some US based and these private exams. They will give you
yes,
the result GRE and GMAT, these things. They give you the result on the spot. They need not
yes.
even wait. So similarly, now it is just taking some extra time for perhaps making sure that their mistakes are not uncovered or there may be some mistakes or something like that. And so, do you think it will happen next year onwards also? Do you
Yes,
will
yes,
they?
100%. 100%. My prayer is that in 2024, the admissions onwards, the admissions must take place in July and concluded by August. That is my prayer. And I am 100% sure that the court will certainly grant this benefit, because there is no way court can refuse this, because the UGC guidelines, the Bar Council of India guidelines say that the admissions must take place in June, July, and degrees must be awarded. The UGC directions are there. The degrees must be. In fact, the directions are so clear. There are certain kind of entitlements of students. If you go to the UGC website, students have a certain entitlements. That entitlement number one is that the admissions must take place in time. The exams must be held on time. The student must be informed about when the complete is 3 year. Let's say if it is a law course, when the first semester will begin, when the first semester exams will be held, second semester when it will begin, when the holidays will be there, when the you have to go for your apprentices and all that. Everything must be schedule must be laid out, which is what the CLAT, the national law universities do. In fact, they're so. In fact, you can know when the final degree will be awarded, which is announced in prior to that. In fact, UGC declares that such a system must be provided for by all universities. But unfortunately, it's not happening. But the guidelines are definitely in place to say that the degrees must be awarded, because the student must will have certain plan, career plan, when he wants to do a particular course there. Thereafter, whether he wants to do some courses in India or abroad, some other specialized studies. So, student also has has his own planning.
Plan.
So it's
Yeah,
not
there
to
is a
just the
plan for
university.
the career.
Universities are just the enablers. They are there merely to see what is the convenient for, what is the ideal thing for the students. I mean, system has to cater to the students, not the other way around, which is what was
Yes,
happening
yes.
so far. No, they were taking it for granted that they were wanting holding the exam, taking the admissions, and so everything was at their convenience. But it should not be like that. It should be student centric, which is not there. So I want to ensure that the admissions take place in time, and I want the High Court to lay the guidelines to say that by this date you should complete the admissions. In fact, Rohit, the you are wondering how the admissions to the engineering and medical courses are held in time. That is again because of the intervention of the Supreme Court. There are Supreme Court has laid down guidelines, and there are the Supreme Court judgments are there both in respect of engineering admissions and medical courses admissions, that you must complete the admissions by the July 31st. No course 1st August the classes must begin, and anyone
Hmm.
who is flouting these kind of directions
No,
will be personally held responsible. These are the directions of the Supreme Court in respect of engineering and medical course. So I have looked at those judgments. I want the High Court. Unfortunately, in respect of law courses, there is no such a similar direction from by any court. Unfortunately, in fact, I feel sad that being lawyers, we have suffered. I mean, the lawyer community has suffered for so many years. The kind of indifference of the authorities at the in respect of
to
law
their
and
to their own to their own people.
to
You
their
know,
own
if it
people, to their own justice system. In fact, when I was discussing this PIL with some teachers of the universities, then some of them they said, "We thank you so much for bringing this. I mean, you have done a world of good to the law community, law students, and to the law field." That is the words used by one very eminent law faculty in Osmania University. So, I mean, this and many people have really appreciated this move, and they said that unfortunately colleges were hesitant to go to courts because they have their own problems.
They will see a retributive action if
Yes,
they go to the court there. But for students to go, there is no such action.
yes, yes,
And
yeah, exactly.
so now that, I mean, I'm very grateful again. I personally benefited, so I know.
Yes,
And also, it is sort of the students. If you look at the community of students, how they work is you are a student only for a certain period of time in your life. So you would be a student for like 3 years or 5 years in a certain place. So your attitude towards the student's attitude towards the institution is, why should I mess with them?
mm,
Because if I do, maybe they'll come back to bite me and they will reduce my marks or they will look at every single rule in the book to try to deny me something. Better
yes,
I bow my head down and go ahead so that I will just silently go through the process. But
yes,
if every student is like this, and especially if you look at again, this is a crime of poverty sort of thing. Being poor, you would have all the more reason to be bow down to the system rather than raise your voice,
yes,
and that brings with it all its baggage, and nobody speaks because nobody else speaks. So this mentality continues, and then somebody has to speak up. Only then something will happen.
yes,
And through all this, I've just seen that if a court decides to intervene, and somebody is passionate enough and is motivated enough to go through with the process, go the extra mile, because it's no easy feat. So you have to spend hours together poring over all this data and then collate it and then present yourself in the court. If you're an earning member in the family and you have immediate financial requirements, there's other things you have to do. The people feel that the process itself is the punishment of going to the court rather than actually
yes,
getting the
yes,
justice.
it is. It
So
is.
they feel that. So now I have a question for you in this matter. So, if somebody is unhappy with any part of the process, whether it be law courses or any educational courses, primarily relating to education, students, these sort of things, what is the remedy available to them? So, for example, I'll give you a case. So, I live in Amirpet in Hyderabad, and my law set center was given in near Chilkur Balaji Temple. So, it is about 18 kilometers or so from my house and early in the morning. So mine was 9 a.m. session, so I should wake up at 6:30 and reach there by 8 o'clock and then do all that. I had a vehicle, so it was okay. I went there comfortably. But the mere act, I live in where is the one most densely populated places. It is the heart of the city, we can call it. In Twin Cities, the Telangana State Council of Higher Education or Law could not find any center. They had to avoid a lot of center in Moinabad district or that outside of Hyderabad. So, what sort of remedy do students have? Should they send a registered post? Should they go to the office and complain, or should they send emails? Do you have any thoughts on this? What should students do if they are facing some problems with the administration?
You should have a legal ground for any agitating any issue. Uh, of course, this is an administrative issue of getting a center. On these aspects, generally, what the courts would not like to intervene because they say that, of course, the system will see where facilities for conducting the exam are available. Although, of course, you would have to face inconvenience. And the very fact that you have chosen to appear for this examination, you know that, I mean, either you should have applied in time so that you get center of your choice of in your zone. But if you have maybe delayed it, so therefore you are getting a center very far off. There could be, I mean, just for an example, I'm just telling that could be there. But if you have a genuine grounds where your career, which is going to affect your career, which is affecting your rights, you have to see what are your legal rights, whether it is fundamental rights or any legal rights are affected in some way or other, which is going to compromise your your decision. So there you have a ground to approach first the authorities to see if you have a genuine difficulty. Let's say there is a person who is handicapped, he can't travel that much, he doesn't have resources. You can should certainly approach the authorities first to change the center. Then generally the authorities will accommodate, but if they don't accommodate, then one can always approach a court of law. But then, going to court of law to file a writ and all, it's again a very cumbersome and very expensive process. So
Yes.
therefore, in matters like that, one has to suffer a little bit inconvenience and face that. So one has to be guard their own interest quite early in time. But in their cases, I don't think there can be much of a legal help.
So, what has been your biggest learning when it comes to the handling this PIL? You've gone through the process. You've been there twice with the committee and expressed that you were interested in fighting the case yourself. And what has been your biggest learning?
My learning in the sense is that, of course, it's been good. I mean, of course, since I've entered the law field very late in the age, it's been a good experience, of course, to face the court and take up a PA. So I was taking up a normal other writs. But PAL has got a more responsibility actually, more than a normal writ petition. In a normal writ petition, you are pleading a case of an individual for a certain grievance. But here you are representing a kind of a large community, and you have to really take it to the court and convince the court and persuade the court to say that thousands of students are affected, thousands of people are affected, and it has to touch them, it has to appeal to them also. It's because every day there are so many PALs are filed on different issues, but the issue must be really there. Again, there is an issue that PAL, you should not have an agenda of your own, and you should not have an axe to grind with. Those kind of issues are also there. Many people file PAL, somebody's issue, they will take it up, and in the garb of PAL, they will, present that case. The courts generally are reluctant to accept that case. In fact, some cases they even impose costs on such petitioners.
Litigants.
So
Okay.
the PL has to be a genuine issue. But if it is a genuine issue, courts are the one. In fact, once you file a PAL, it becomes a property of the court. In fact, even if you
Okay.
want to escape that, you can't. You say, okay, you want to leave the court, you can leave it to us. We will ask somebody else to plead the case. They will appoint an amicus and pursue the matter. Once the court is convinced that it is a genuine issue there. So therefore, the PALs have to be issue of substantial public importance, and they must have a social relevance, must have a usefulness of that. They must appeal to the people and also to the general community. I mean, even the media will cover that event once it matter is of public importance.
Yes. Yes. If you look at this particular case, it was in DC. They always highlighted it prominently rather than
Yes,
putting it,
all the
tucking it
papers,
away
all the
somewhere.
media, newspapers and TV channels have covered this thing because it was something which was, as you said, that people have taken it for granted, and the admissions taking place sometime in almost it's not a right time. Actually, it should have begun in July, but anyway, it started about a month later. So anyway, it's a good beginning. So I mean, we want to bring it on track. Next academic year onwards, it wants to begin in July. So probably by next month, by December, I think we will get the. Hopefully, court will pass orders on that, so that from next academic year onwards, the admissions take place in July. See, this year again, the 5-year law course students were deprived of having the admissions in time because the admissions to engineering and medical courses, medical of course this time was delayed, but engineering and agriculture courses were conducted, and the degree course admissions were held in July. But the law course admissions were again this time were delayed by a month, and they were held only in August end or so. So some of those students must have certainly not got an
Pursued.
opportunity to try in law. They missed out this year for first 5 year law course. And you see, you're talking about the Andhra Pradesh. In fact, Andhra Pradesh law set also was held at the same time in June, but their admissions are yet to take place.
Yes.
So they are waiting. Those students are waiting. Why Telangana the admissions are completing? Why in Andhra it is not happening? Because there, as usual, the universities and the system is going to hold the counseling in November or December. So I was suggesting someone that you also file a PL in your Andhra High Court.
Yeah. I hope somebody can take it up
Yes.
because it's something of importance. And now I'd like to conclude because we have taken a lot of your valuable time. If do you have any suggestions for students who are pursuing law or pursuing any subject regarding how they should approach their education and what are the rights they have? Anything that you would like to say?
Yes, students have certain entitlements, rights that to have the teachers in place, good library, good facilities, the conducting of exams. All that is provided for. On paper, it is all there. And law, particularly, is one area those who are interested must join and really pursue it with full seriousness during the 3 years. If you attend the classes, it will be very good. You'll get a lot of knowledge which the books, studying books alone will not give you. So one must. There, I have heard a number of good lawyers who have been good students. I mean, a law is a subject where you are a student for throughout the life. I mean, till you are pursuing the law career, one has to keep on studying, which is a growing subject. It's a dynamic area. It's not a static thing like other sciences or other sciences are also growing. But law is something which is a very vast. Once one must develop a lot of interest to read and write. So discuss, participate in the moot courts, you attend the courts. I mean, for instance, those colleges in city, very near to your college, there will be some courts will be there, whether the trial courts or the other specialized courts like family courts or the industrial courts, labor courts, or of course, High Court is itself in Hyderabad. So you must make use of your time. One must go attend the courts and watch the proceedings, see how the advocates put up their arguments, and it will be very interesting. That's how you can really, and even those first generation lawyers also, they can really make a mark, even if you do not have any legal background, you don't have any support system of your parents or being lawyers. Even first generation, if you have interest, there are many cases where first generation lawyers have really risen to the top. You can rise to the topmost position, being a very noted advocate. So it's everything is possible under the sky. You can really achieve the best. So I advise you to utilize your law college time for studying law.
Thank you, Mr. Reddy.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you for
So,
having me. Maybe after the case is concluded, we can get together and we can give you an update on how the things are.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, friends, this is Mr. Bhaskar Reddy, who has done so much for the legal fraternity in Telangana. Thousands of students are impacted by this public interest litigation, and it has sort of made the authorities wake up from their slumber and make sure that they act expeditedly and swiftly without delaying the course admissions and putting the lives of students in limbo. Thank you for watching. Hope all of you have a great time and make sure to ask for your rights.
Thank you. Thank you, Rohit.